Florida's past is just as strange as the state itself. This is a place where nuclear weapons were once hidden in swamps, secret groups chased impossible theories, entire colonies vanished from memory, and objects that helped shape the world somehow ended up thousands of miles from where they belonged. Most people never notice any of it. Today, we're counting down 10 real, hidden places in Florida that almost nobody talks about. These aren't urban legends. They aren't tourist tricks. They're real locations you can actually visit, history hiding right in front of you. Let's start with something so bizarre it feels impossible. In the lobby of the Faena Hotel in Miami Beach, there's a glass enclosure that looks like it belongs in a supervillain's headquarters. Inside it stands a 10-foot-tall woolly mammoth skeleton, completely covered in 24-karat gold. And no, this isn't fake. Those are real Ice Age bones. That is real gold. And the piece is worth millions. Created by artist Damien Hirst, the mammoth was installed as part of the hotel's Temple of Time concept. Hirst has said he's long been obsessed with extinction and mortality, which makes this feel less like decoration and more like a message. An extinct animal, frozen in luxury. Preserved forever, while life moved on. Most hotel guests walk right past it, assuming it's just another flashy Miami prop. But standing there, you're actually inches away from a genuine prehistoric creature, wrapped in enough gold to make ancient kings jealous. It's not a museum. It's not protected land. It's a piece of deep history, hiding inside a hotel lobby. Next, we head to Orlando, a city built on fantasy. Theme parks. Cartoon mascots. Wizard castles. And somehow, a real piece of the Berlin Wall. Hidden behind the Hard Rock Cafe at Universal City Walk sits an unassuming slab of concrete that once cut Europe in half. No spotlight. No big sign. Just a quiet section of the wall that separated East and West Berlin during the Cold War. And this isn't a copy. That concrete is original. It stood in Berlin. It watched families split, borders harden, and history freeze in place. After the wall came down, thousands of verified fragments were distributed across the world, mostly to museums and universities. One of them ended up here, acquired by Hard Rock in the early 1990s, originally meant as edgy decor. Today, it's barely noticed. Most visitors walk past it without realizing they're inches away from one of the most powerful political symbols of the 20th century. The Cold War, reduced to a background object behind a restaurant better known for guitar displays and souvenir t-shirts. It's hard to imagine a more American ending to that story. But Florida doesn't stop there. Deep inside the Everglades, far from roads, crowds, and cell service, sits something even harder to believe. A fully preserved Cold War nuclear missile site. After the Cuban Missile Crisis, the U.S. installed Nike Hercules missiles throughout the country, including here in southern Florida. These weapons weren't meant to hit cities. They were designed to explode near incoming enemy bombers, creating massive nuclear blast zones in the sky. The idea was simple, terrifying, and very real. Site HM-69 remains one of the most intact missile bases in the nation. Missile storage buildings. Underground control rooms. Launch equipment, all still there. Park rangers even lead guided tours through the facility. But getting there takes effort. The site sits roughly 40 minutes deep inside the park, surrounded by nothing but swamp and silence. That isolation makes it hit harder. You're standing where soldiers once waited for orders that could have meant the end of the world. No alarms now. No missiles armed. Just concrete, humidity, and the weight of history, slowly sinking into the Everglades. For a long time, Florida didn't have many massive indoor public venues. And because of that, the few that did exist became strange crossroads of history, where politics, civil rights, and pop culture all collided. One of those places hosted Elvis Presley early in his career. It welcomed Martin Luther King Jr. during the Civil Rights Movement. And it was the site of one of John F. Kennedy's final public appearances, just days before his assassination. Today, that same building serves an entirely different purpose. It's a Jewish community center, restored, active, and very much alive. A place where people attend events, exercise, and go about daily life. Very few structures on Earth can casually claim they've hosted Elvis, MLK, and JFK, and then gone on to be used for yoga classes. This isn't forgotten history. It's reused history, quietly blending into the present. Now let me mess with your expectations for a second. If someone said you were standing on the site of America's first European settlement, most people would instantly think of St. Augustine. That assumption would be wrong. The real answer is Pensacola. In 1559, Spanish explorer Tristan de Luna arrived here with hundreds of soldiers, settlers, and sailors, establishing a colony 6 years before St. Augustine even existed. The problem? The settlement collapsed almost immediately. A devastating hurricane destroyed the fleet, supplies vanished, and the colony failed so quickly that historians later questioned whether it had ever been real at all. So where did it go? It didn't vanish. It was buried. There are no reconstructed forts or visible ruins because the remains of that colony sit underneath modern Pensacola, beneath streets, buildings, and everyday life. You might walk your dog, grab coffee, or jog through downtown without realizing you're standing on the opening chapter of American history. Artifacts recovered from beneath the city and nearby shipwrecks now live in local museums, but the settlement itself remains hidden, swallowed by time and development. Florida chaos, from day one. About 70 miles west of Key West sits Fort Jefferson, one of the largest brick forts ever built in the Western Hemisphere, constructed with more than 16 million bricks on a remote island in the dry Tortugas. It's also where Dr. Samuel Mudd was imprisoned. Mudd didn't assassinate Abraham Lincoln, but he treated John Wilkes Booth after the shooting, and that was enough to earn him a life sentence in one of the most isolated prisons imaginable. Surrounded by sharks, storms, and open ocean, escape was nearly impossible. But history took an unexpected turn. During a deadly yellow fever outbreak, Mudd helped save the lives of soldiers and guards inside the fort. Years later, he was pardoned. His reputation, however, never fully recovered, and the phrase "your name is Mudd" may trace back to his disgrace. And finally, one of the most underrated pieces of American history in the entire state. The original mission control consoles used during the Mercury, Gemini, and early Apollo missions, the equipment that tracked astronauts like Alan Shepard and John Glenn, are not housed at Kennedy Space Center. They're in a small, volunteer-run museum in downtown Titusville. These massive consoles once guided humanity's first steps into space, back when computers filled entire rooms and had less power than the device in your pocket. When NASA modernized, much of this equipment was nearly thrown away, until volunteers realized they were looking at the physical birthplace of the space age. Today, you can sit at those same consoles for the price of lunch. Step outside, walk through nearby Spaceview Park, and even watch modern launches rise from Cape Canaveral, past and future sharing the same horizon. Florida's history isn't just beaches and theme parks. It's lost colonies, Cold War weapons, forgotten prisons, and world-changing moments hiding where no one thinks to look. If you enjoyed this journey, consider subscribing. We explore Florida every week, from famous attractions to the hidden stories buried right beneath them. Until next time, stay strange.